the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 3.0 roll call. Let the record reflect that all members are present. 4.0 student rep. Nope. 5.0 agenda additions and deletions.
I have a few in front of you, Mr. Chair. 10.6, approving the appointment of Justine Henry to administrative assistant. We can talk about that when the time comes. I have a resignation from Amanda Wennison at 10.7, and an extracurricular transport agreement with Schubot at 11.5.
Okay. All right, 6.0 visitor input. Do we have anybody signed up?
Nope.
Okay. 7.0 approve agenda.
I have a addition to the agenda. You still on that yet?
No.
We're
You didn't ask for deletions either.
okay, we can make changes as we go along, but
Okay. I'd like to delete 10.3 again, just so we can have a little more discussion on it. Okay.
this would be the appropriate time to do that if you wanted. You make a motion to that.
I make a motion we delete it.
Table it, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Or delete it until we have more discussion.
Tabling it would be for more discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We want to do that. Just to have a different meeting on it, or?
Yeah. Or we can, whenever you'd like to do. I'd like to have more discussion on that position.
Okay, prior to it being on the agenda?
It'd be nice to see it deleted until we
Okay.
delete it completely.
Okay, your motion is to delete it completely?
Yes.
Or table it and we'll just, do you want to discuss it and have a meeting about it, is my question. I mean, if you want to table it and
Okay,
have a meeting about it.
Yeah,
Let's table it and have a meeting about it.
okay. Okay, the motion's to have table it and have a meeting at a later date.
I'll move.
That's, okay, motion by Eddie, support by Gentilini. All right, any discussion on tabling that?
I'm
Can
not
I
sure.
ask why?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to...
Why?
Why, so I know what I'm voting on, whether I'm in agreement
Okay.
to table it or
Well,
not?
the position ended, according to the minutes of the meetings, that you had on 11/28/16. The board had a discussion on administrative restructuring, and I went through the minutes, and it says approve the addition on November 28, 2016 to approve the Dean of Students for the Evelyn campus. And then so on new business on the 28th, discussion and administrative restructuring, Mr. Carey requested that the board approve adding the Dean of Students position for the Evelyn campus for the remainder of the year. Okay. And to evaluate the administrative structure at the end of the year. Have we did any evaluating on the Dean of Students?
Nothing has changed in between, so we recommended that we continued on the
I
program.
mean,
If I may, can we just vote on this, and if it fails, can we have this discussion during the item if it fails? Because I think that's the appropriate thing to do if we're going to have a big discussion about this. That's why it's on the agenda, is we can have that discussion. I would like to have this discussion during the agenda item.
Right now the discussion's just to discuss.
Yeah, I get it,
whether or
but
not
I mean,
we want to delete it, but...
It's kind of,
I mean,
we're trying to delete it, but we're really having a discussion item on the agenda.
I just wanted to know why, what he was.
Yeah,
and I get it, but-
clarification was
Okay, all right.
That answered
warranted.
it for me.
I mean, so it's it's the end of, it ended on June 30th, and where's the evaluation of this position? I have no papers in front of me other
This
than
is
somebody saying
this is
he's done
the-
a good job or whatever.
The
But
whole
anyway,
program.
the Hope, this is the Hope teacher, though, that we're 10.3, so.
okay, we can have the discussion then if you'd like.
Okay. minutes.
dropping your motion, or would you like to?
Well, there's a motion and a second, so I guess we can vote on it if you want.
Vote to table it, or vote to delete it.
There's a vote to,
Your motion was to table it.
Okay, yes.
vote to table, have a meeting at a later date, okay. I believe the discussion, had a little bit of discussion, but any further? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. I don't know if, because that was close, I don't know if there's,
4 to 3.
there's four, oh, Mike did say, okay, I didn't hear Mike say.
Oh, I said no, I'm sorry.
No,
Oh, that
I didn't
Mike.
hear Mike, or second Mike.
We said no.
Yeah, okay, so that fails, so it remains on the agenda for tonight. And we're still at the point where we're approving the agenda. Did you have something else you wanted to?
Yes, okay. The minutes refer to the statement I read regularly, my reasons to remove the treasurer's report, item C, from the consent agenda. I move to amend the minutes to include the reasons I read from my statement, which include in short, is it not the board's responsibility to keep the community informed of the district's income and expenses? By including the treasurer's report in a consent agenda, the public does not have a chance to be informed of the details of the district's finances. To add that in.
Mr. Chair, I think that this is an appropriate time for that. You
Yeah.
can bring that issue up at the consent agenda
At the consent
item
agenda, yeah, you can bring that up then.
Addition.
To the addition to.
of minutes that are under the consent agenda.
Yeah, you can talk about the minutes under the consent agenda.
When you get to the
When we get to the
consent
consent
agenda,
agenda,
you
yeah.
can pull out any item you
I don't
want.
read the whole thing, so just.
Yeah, that's fine, we can,
Include it in the
we
minutes.
can amend it for
Statement I
whatever,
made here.
around the consent agenda. That's, so, right now, we're just approving this, the whole agenda as a whole. so- Okay. All right, should be a motion to approve the agenda as,
I'll move.
okay, motion by Peterson,
I'll second.
second by Sather. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. Motion passes. 8.0, Treasurer's Report.
Okay, for the month of July, we had receipts of $1,323,924.19. Disbursements of $389,958.42. And we had a payroll of $473,518.55. Transportation was $36,145.64. Community education, $6,163.76. Flex benefit plan was minus $1,782.96, for a total of $514,044.99. For the first check writing of August, we had disbursements of $244,726.56. I move to accept the treasurer's report for July and first check writing for August, excluding check number 365946 in the amount of $794.75. I cannot approve the legal invoices for first check writing of August because I am refused access to review the invoices.
What was that check number? What was that check number?
Check number 365946.
All right. Be able to remove that from there then, or I don't know how that works, I guess. Okay, well,
There we are.
there's a motion to accept it. Is there a second?
To remove the check?
Well, it's a motion to accept the treasurer's report minus the check, I believe, if I remember correctly.
But the check went out and already got cash.
check's already been paid out, correct? Yeah.
Well, there's their second.
Yeah, was there a second? Hearing a second? Okay, I'm not hearing a second, so that motion is failing.
I'm wondering if there's another, I hear what you're saying, Tom. I'm wondering if
Well,
we can word it differently on approving this,
Yeah, if you want
on approving,
to work to redo the motion, I
that's
guess.
what I'm trying to, so approving the treasurer's report with check number 365946 noted of concern with the fact that we have not seen, or the treasurer has not seen
Correct.
the report for that
Yeah,
payment.
All the other checks and invoices, no problem,
Okay.
but I'm denied access to review the legal invoices, and I cannot justify, or would you justify yourself voting on a medical bill that you haven't been able to read what the costs are
So
for?
Kathy, did you
That's-
get my
I can't justify
motion?
that.
Was that a motion?
That is a motion. I piecemealed it, but that was my motion.
Okay.
Does that make sense to me in my
Note
head?
with
But
note
it
of
may not
concern.
make sense to the rest of the group.
Yeah.
So did you make the motion?
Yes.
I can second it as that, as stated. So open it for discussion. I guess is it attorney-client privilege things? Is that why there's no
Yep.
access?
Okay.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought. That makes sense to me, so. Just note that there's concern from Mr. Gentilini. Okay, well, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Mr. Chair, who supported that?
I supported it. Okay, now we're to the consent agenda 9.0. Now you can, Tom, you just wanted to add in your statement, was it?
Mr. Chair, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's an issue with an item in the consent agenda, I think
gotta
you have
be.
to ask that to be
Yeah, be
removed from the
removed.
consent agenda, is
Yep.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So would you like that?
And then put under a normal agenda item.
That's correct. Yeah, you're right. Thanks for correcting me. So 9.0 is consent agenda.
So I'll make a request to remove the approved minutes of the regular meeting of Monday, July 24th, 2017, to be removed from the consent agenda for today.
Do we want to remove and add it as like 11.6 to discuss what Tom wants to discuss, or?
Well, I'd like to discuss something as well on there. There's
Would
two
you do
on
a
there.
9.1?
Well,
I guess it makes sense.
9.1? Would it do-
I mean,
How
just
would you do
to-
that, Jeff?
You're probably best off
Under new business?
putting it in new business.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it wouldn't fall under this.
Yeah, we'll move that to 11.6 will be the motion? Or was there a motion?
I made the
Okay, you
motion.
made the motion. You
I
wanna
don't
move it
think we have a
to 11.6?
second,
Okay. Okay, so the motion is to move consent agenda item A to 11.6 to open it for discussion.
It's Tom's item. Does he want to
Yeah,
support it?
is there a second on that?
Did you want
Do we have a support?
Did you want to second that motion?
Oh, I didn't hear the motion. Oh, there's a motion on
I made a motion to remove the approved agenda from July 24th meeting into a separate area so that we can have further conversation on it if there's concern that minutes need to be corrected.
that? Okay, second.
Okay, so that was a second, agenda lady then. Okay, any discussion?
The discussion was, I want to add to that I want to remove something as well, a misstatement on that too, so, but we can discuss it when we get there.
That'll be
I want to make
another,
that clear to you guys.
it's going to be on what?
On 11/6.
Oh.
To talk
Do we
about the
11?
minutes.
Oh, okay, to fix the minutes, okay. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, so any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
No. Okay, so that's Motion passes. We'll move it to 11.6. Now we'll continue with the consent agenda. It's items B and C, approve second reading of policy 534 and approve lane change request of Tim Strasser.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Peterson, second by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 10.0 personnel. 10.1, accept letter of resignation from Amanda Murphin.
Amanda Murphin was an early childhood teacher. She did the part of the 3-year-old program, so this is a very, very, very part-time position that we're going to struggle to find somebody to fill.
I'll make a motion to accept the letter of resignation from Amanda Murphin.
And I will second.
Okay. Motion by Sather, second by Lotiger. Any discussion?
I would just like to add that I heard that she did a great job last year, and I want to thank her for her stepping up and doing that. She, kind of, those that didn't know, she kind of took over for somebody as kind of a long-term sub and kind of made it her own, and she did a good job.
I agree. Thank you.
Very good. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No. Let's see. Good here. Okay, 10.2, approve 1.0 FTE teaching assignment of Rebecca Diedrich.
This will be a special ed position in the high school. She has been there the last 2 years on a variance. She actually has a 3-year non-renewable now, so.
All right. Get a motion to accept that teaching assignment?
I'll make. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, motion by Peterson,
I'll second.
second by Sather. Any discussion?
Yeah, on these hires, is it typical for just the principal to be the only one in the interview, or usually is there more people that are in the interviewing?
This
I mean,
particular
I
instance,
mean-
this is an employee who's been here already, so we don't do an
Okay.
interview.
Yeah,
So
there's
was
no
this-
interviews.
Okay, was this posted then?
Yes.
Then were there other applicants?
No.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.3, approve 1.0 FTE teaching assignment of Eliza Bowe.
I will make a motion to approve this position for Alyssa Bowe. For the teaching assignment. And it's okay, I'm babbling over my motion
I
again.
thought you were done. I'm
I
sorry.
should have been done.
Sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Motion by Sather, support by Peterson, I think we got. All right, any discussion?
Yes, we're
Okay.
back to me again. On this HOPE program, was there any other applicants that applied for this? Was it posted as well? Or
Yes, it was posted. Didn't know there
do we
was
know who
not.
they were? Or
Huh?
do we know, why don't we get the information of the other applicants?
There aren't any.
There weren't.
Okay. All right.
Are we receiving funding from the whole program? Voice is bad there. No, we used to get funding from the whole program. Is that still continued on?
We never got funding for the whole program.
We did?
No.
Last year was our first year.
We just did it last year for the first time. It is, we set it up as a catch-all for the kids that might go to a different institution and they're kind of struggling here, but they're not special ed. So it's basically designed as a retention program so that we don't lose those kids that are struggling in school a little bit.
Have you ever done an evaluation of that program as the board?
As a board?
Yeah.
No.
Or
I think it's difficult for,
presentation.
I think the evaluation piece, so I'm very interested in the whole program. I would love to see an evaluation happen. I don't think that it was possible necessarily last year when we had a teacher shift in the middle of the year. And by the time, I believe, Ms. Bowe had a chance to be able to figure out what she was doing. I mean, it was trying to play catch up.
Much too
So I'm
small,
very
yeah.
interested for this year of being able to look at some type of evaluation of the progress of the students, You know, but I'm a huge supporter because I know of many people that left our district and had to go do a similar programs that they offered in other districts, and that were unable to graduate from Evelyn Gilbert where they went to school their entire lives.
Do we have any numbers on that, Hilly?
Any
How many-
numbers on?
How many students are actually,
No, I
in
just
that
know
program?
personally of individuals that end up leaving. So I don't know of any current numbers, any current research. I'm very interested in it, but I think it's worth continuing for sure for this year.
I mean, and Ms. Bo did come and speak to this board at the end of last school year, and gave a presentation on how she thought the program went and how many kids that are affected, and she brought some
Letters from students.
Yeah, some student
was a nice
phrases
presentation,
and
I remember
stuff,
it,
and I
yeah.
thought she did a great job. And like I said then, and I said again, I mean, I was the only one that voted against the program last year, and I would support it again this year. So that's my 2 cents on that.
So my thought, Bill, when you mentioned earlier with this discussion is, I value the whole program. I think part of what you're looking at is separate from this. I have concerns that it's August, and if we don't have someone into this program and we're using this program as a plateau to shift positions and people around, it's not going to do this program justice. So I
Well,
am very invested in having one long-term.
But I just want to make clear.
I get what you're-
I want to make
yes.
clear that if a board approves something, once you do it, you can't undo it. Okay? Because, like I said, and I'll say it again, the Dean of Students ended on June 30th. Was it posted? Who are the applicants? Where's that information? I mean, we don't
That
have
one
that
doesn't have to be
information.
posted.
Huh?
That one doesn't have to be posted, it's
But it
a,
was assignment that ended on June 30th.
And we reassigned.
and we reassigned it.
Who resigned it?
You did.
This board did.
When?
Last meeting. You voted against it.
And you also mentioned it was in the budget. I didn't see, I mean, how, did you see something in the budget that I didn't see? Or were you able to see that you
It was
budgeted for it?
budgeted for that program.
I didn't
That's
see
part
it.
of the budgeting conversation that we have.
Nah, I don't think so, Mike. You show me the minutes of the meeting, or show me the videotape.
We don't.
Or show me the-
budget meetings.
Well, or what, yeah, okay, well,
Wait.
I'm just saying. It just, it just said, if things end, they end, okay?
What
Until you renew
what
them.
I'm getting from all of these conversations that have been happening tonight is that we need to, as a board, come together and do some evaluations of programs
Absolutely.
and administration.
Mhm.
And I think that's where it's coming from, and I understand that, but, you know, the whole program it's a great program.
I mean,
It catches kids that are falling through the cracks that aren't in special ed, and,
I mean, I'm not against the program, don't think
Yes.
that I am. Okay, I'm not.
but I think I guess I see a different way of going about it.
It just-
Through evaluations.
Well,
And
and
us as a board need to,
I think as a board, we need more information of why we vote for some of these things, and why we get a little piece of paper here with nothing on it. I mean, it just says the person was hired by the principal, and that's it. We don't know her credentials.
That's not my,
It's not
I don't want to.
that's- I don't want to
With all
know
due
that,
respect,
yeah.
we don't run the school. We hire people to run the school.
Yeah.
We govern the school. There's a
But
difference.
but as a board member, how can I hire somebody if I don't know nothing about her?
I'm
That's-
taking,
I
trust
I'm
the
Did you go to
committees.
phase 1 and 2 training? I
Yes.
mean, they talked about that. I mean,
But the
where's
state
all that
statute says that we're allowed this information, and I don't understand why it's not in the,
Can request
with
it.
this.
I imagine. I don't- If there's any information to be requested, you can request it.
Well, and for me, I will request that information, me personally.
What are you looking for?
Well, their application, their background, of their history. I mean,
Personnel.
huh? No, it's not,
Some
Mike.
of that is personnel
It is
information.
not. It is not personnel.
Bill, why do you have to get
Well-
so, like,
Because-
confrontational
All
when we
right.
have a
I-
conversation?
all right.
I mean, we're trying
Okay.
to have a conversation. You
We're
don't
done.
have to-
Can
We're
we
done.
go back to the
Let's
current
just- let's go-
motion
Let's
that
go to
I
this
have
motion with
for-
Eliza Boas. It has nothing to
Okay.
do with Dean of Students or anything like that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
say Eliza. I'm going to keep saying Eliza. That's what it's going to be.
All right.
So,
Alyssa.
is this
I
program,
corrected him.
as she's correcting me, I'm going to continue with Eliza. Anyways, motion's on the table. Let's talk about
Yep.
that, or we're not talking about anything. So. All right, are we done with discussion on this, or can we vote?
Is this a one-year program, or is it a continuing program forever, or what? Shouldn't it be reviewed? Take it for 1
believe
year
that was
and
part of
then
the-
review it?
We can have a review later on as it's,
That's what I'm hoping, is that we'll have
But
more,
we need a
be able
bigger
to get
sample
more.
than we have.
Yes,
So
more
I can come
research
up
this
and
year
review
and
it here
information. I'm very interested in this program and to see how it's going throughout the
So-
year. I mean, I'm excited about this program. So yeah, I would love input from Alyssa as the year goes on how it's going. And I think if we ask for, or administration asks for different numbers or whatever from Alyssa, I think she would be more than happy to get that for us.
Yeah, because we're looking at $41,281, and we're cutting other programs,
it's
down, so this is another expenditure too, see, so.
It's not an
the
added
program
expenditure.
warrants it,
But this
that's
is a
different.
program for students, so I'm
Yeah.
okay
Yeah.
putting money towards our students.
and it retains students, no less, too. That's invaluable. So, all right, let's vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All opposed? Motion passes. 10.4, accept letter of resignation from Susan Malovich, Title I teacher.
Sue was a Title I teacher over in Franklin for the last 6 years, and she'll be sorely missed. She's very good at it.
Yeah.
I will make the motion
I'll support it.
with the letter of thanks.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. 10.5, approve .5 FTE school counselor appointment of David Jansen.
This is over at the Gilbert campus. Mr. Jansen worked for us last year. We were on a shared contract with Wasabi East. We did not do that this year. We're just hiring him, so we're not responsible for the benefits portion of it, so it's pretty significant reduced cost to us going this way.
Motion to accept that appointment.
I'll move.
Motion by Peterson. I'll support it. Any discussion?
Yes, how much money would we have saved if we would have just hired, like, say, you were a full-time counselor, correct? How much would it, what would it cost the board if we had a full-time counselor over at the Nelsheen?
About twice that.
Depends too
Depends who it is, too.
on their experience.
Okay.
And it would be benefits too, with it for
So this person is being hired without he just straight up $31,392, no benefits package at all.
Right.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 10.6, approve appointment of Justine Henry to administrative assistant.
This is a replacement for Kathy Reardon.
Should be working in the superintendent's office then.
Yep.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve that?
We'll make a motion to approve of that.
Motion to say there.
Little side note in there before you vote, Mr. Chair. So the contract for this position is expired right now.
Oh,
And we haven't even started to negotiate it because we're still working on some other groups. So I would also recommend, our current hourly secretary rate is $21.91 for the rest of them.
oh.
I would recommend that we hire at that rate until we
Okay, is
are
that-
able to settle a
Is
contract.
that part of the motion acceptable to you?
Yes, can I amend that to add that as within the motion,
Yeah,
to approve at the current secretarial rate?
that's fine with you for a second, okay. Now, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. 10.7, accept notice of resignation of Amanda Wennison.
Amanda Wennison was a early childhood aide. I believe was she in the 3-year-old program too?
She worked with the 4, 5,
Okay.
3s, 4s, and 5s.
She was only here last year.
Motion to accept.
I'll move.
Motion by Peterson. I will second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. 11.0, new business. 11.1, approve resolution approving the issuance of taxable general obligation OPEB crossover refunding bonds.
Hey.
Tongue tie. All right.
Your Worship, members of the school board, Honorable Superintendent. This is a little bit different sort of a structure than what we have had in the past and almost every other borrowing we've made. Interest rates, especially for taxable bonds, have been fluctuating almost daily. To the extent when I was here last, the range of savings was 69,000 to 71,000. I walked out that door, and they must have heard me, because the rates went up and they dropped down to 30,000 before the end of the week. And that lasted for about 3 weeks, and they've recovered now to the point where we're about 50,000. I'm not satisfied with 50,000. As time goes on, in terms of interest cost, time is on our side, at least until mid-September. So this is structured as what's called an authorization to refund the bonds, but it's also referred to as a trigger resolution. If the savings reach $50,000, I can call Jeff and the chairman of the board and the finance director, and with their approval, we can then lock in those interest rates. Without that, then my best bet is to suggest that we go to a full-fledged sale, which costs more money, which will erode back down to below 50,000. So this trigger resolution is a unique thing that Northland Securities has developed as a way of placing the bonds with the right buyers. And we've had buyers from outside the region, but they want higher interest rates. The buyers within our region are a little bit more aggressive. They recognize our interest rates better. And so we've developed a market for that. And for some reason, taxable interest rates are slightly higher now. We're willing to be patient, and I would suggest a little bit of patience on your behalf. But by adoption of this resolution, you've authorized the issuance of the bonds so long as we can save at least $50,000, and that's net of all expenses, period. And getting the approval from the three people, the board chair, the soup, and the business manager. Questions?
That was to refinance that bond, right, at a lower rate,
That's
correct?
that's
I mean,
correct.
Can you explain it a little bit more of what you're, in a simplified form? I mean, I know what you're trying to do. Yeah, okay.
It's much like refinancing the mortgage on your house. That's all we're doing is dropping the interest rates. These bonds are we don't get a chance to call them for another year and a half. So we're paying the higher rate for about 18 more months. That's why I'm suggesting that the longer we can wait, that erodes away, so we don't have to double pay. And so that makes sense. That's just, simple mathematics. And right, because we have to borrow more money. So if we can borrow less money because interest rates are lower, that makes sense. And if time goes by, that makes sense. So it's nothing but time and money in the interest rates. And we had it almost perfect when I was here before, and that we had some guy in Europe all of a sudden talk about inflation, and it took off. And interest rate inflation is a bad word for interest rates, and all of a sudden it walked away from us. All of a sudden, the Fed, or in the money markets, inflation rates came in July. Guess what? They were down below all the estimates. They have just come in August, and they're now below all the estimates. So now we are in a pressure against and pushing the rates down again. And I'm willing to let that run in our favor, because we are in the best position we could possibly be.
So basically what you're saying is you want to be able to refinance that at your convenience when you feel it's time to refinance, correct?
That's
Is that what you're
correct.
saying? Okay, so you would,
And we have really, really fabulous people, not just me, that are watching this and are looking over our shoulders. And very frankly, I think this is the best possible route that we have.
what does it look long-term for like September?
September, the Fed meeting is, the Federal Reserve has really taken the hammering by a lot of the economists, even by some of the Fed board members themselves. They have said that the Federal Reserve management thinks there's a ghost someplace of inflation, and that all of a sudden that ghost is going to come out on top of the table in the form of higher salaries. And that's Mr. Kashmiri, head of the Federal Reserve in Minneapolis, and he said, there's no ghost. It's not there. It's not going to happen. And even if there was an increase in salaries, which is really referring to inflation, it can't move fast enough. It's too slow. And the Dallas Fed chief said virtually the same thing, and he said, I can be very patient. And that's really what I'm asking you to do, is be a little bit patient, because I think we're in a great spot. We haven't been here since midsummer.
So do you have any projections of when it would be a good time to refinance that?
Well, we're watching it now on a day-by-day basis, and we're using last Thursday as a basis of 50,934 of net savings, and we're just now watching the interest rates. The way you kind of watch it is interest rates on Monday and Tuesday are the brand new money rates, and then Wednesday is a combination of new and old money changing hands. On Thursdays are great days to look at what the market really is. And municipal governments in July and in August sold $10 billion of new bonds. There were almost $25 billion that came due. So we're in a marketplace that wants new money, and there isn't much new money. And there's still money flooding into the marketplace saying we want new money. And most of them would like tax exempts. These are taxables, but we've identified about 5 institutions that would be satisfied with taxables. So now we just are waiting for this coming Thursday, just a shot to see how much better we can get than 50,934.
Are you, when the interest rates are lower, do you have the ability to buy down points at all in that market?
No.
No? Okay.
I shouldn't say no. It depends upon who the purchasers are going to be. We're looking for a purchaser, one, so we can place it with one bank primarily.
Okay.
We don't see very many corporate types coming in for taxables, but we do see banks doing that. And so we know what we want as a rate. And so if we can't take it off their side, we'll take it off our side. As I told you earlier in the first presentation, we're doing it in a private placement to save money. And that's exactly what we want to do and what we're going to do.
So the interest rate right now is what on that bond?
This one is 2.73 versus 5.05.
Big difference.
It's a lot of, see, that's in one way, it's too much difference,
Yeah.
but it's going to save a lot of money on the tax levy. So, you know, that's the real reason to get it done.
Right.
And we have time to get it done before we publish all of our notices.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
So what were you asking of the board then, to move at your convenience to refinance, or do you think it's ready?
Yes. I think we should pass this resolution. And if I can't call you back and say we can save a minimum of 50,000 or more, then you won't get a call back. And this only goes through December of 31st of the end of this year.
Yeah, because we wouldn't know when to move. I mean, if you were going to move today, the interest rate could even drop more tomorrow. Which means, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you were to like refinance today and it dropped, you know, quarter of a point or eighth of a point, I mean, that's big money over long term.
Well, it is, and that's why you waiting for the new money to come out Monday and Tuesday, and the mix of new money and old money on Wednesday, and then you go in and find out everybody that's short. And since so much more money is being redeemed than what's being issued new, that puts us in a driver's seat. Don't find that often.
All right, thank you.
So what we need is a
Please-
motion and a second
Yeah.
on this
Yeah, we'll
resolution.
get to that.
Okay.
But
Okay, well, just, yeah, he was looking for a resolution to be able to, our motion basically.
it's in the packet.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, oh,
We're going to get a motion to do the roll call vote.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion to accept the
Resolution as
resolution.
stated.
Okay. Get a second?
Second.
Motion by Sather, second by Andrews. All right, we'll do this roll call vote. There's no discussion.
Gentilini?
Yes?
Director Lotiger?
Yes.
Director Addy?
yes.
Director Sather?
Yes.
Director Chad?
Yes.
Director Andrews? Yes. Director Peterson? Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to 11.2, approve the additional sixth grade teacher.
If you want to do a motion in a second, we could start the discussion, I guess.
Okay, do you want
I will make a motion to approve a sixth grade teacher.
to, motion by Sather,
I will second.
second by Lotiger. All right, open for discussion.
This particular class has been large. It's also met the qualifications for class size reduction money under Title IIA in the past 2 years anyway. This year the federal government did not give us enough money to do that. We probably have enough to cover half, so we'd probably be looking at about a $20,000 investment out of our general fund that has not been budgeted at this point. I don't know, do you have any questions about that? I mean, if we leave it the way it is right now, and I have mentioned before, I mean, the reason that we do cut that person at the end of every year, and it's kind of disheartening and not the greatest thing, but this is the very reason why we have to, because you're not guaranteed that funding year after year, so, and in fact, we did not get it this year. It's nothing that anybody did or anything, it's just, it's an amount that the federal government gives us based on our free and reduced numbers, which are down significantly this year. It cost us some money in early childhood as well, so.
Can you explain what the teaching ratio would be with the current staff and what
It's,
it would be?
if we sit right now with the 3 teachers in 6th grade, we'd be at about 32 to 1. If we add another one, it'll be 24 to 1.
I'm all for a lower class ratio by
Yeah.
far.
We can't have a 30.
I can't
No,
imagine
32
32.
is,
For space for 32.
yeah, safely anyways.
Are there ideas on where that money will come from the general?
Come right out of the savings.
Just for the savings, yeah, general fund.
The, next year, because this group will be 7th graders, it'll be a little bit different next year because it operates a little different than elementary, but
Yep.
for one year here, we have to, they saturate a little better in junior high, but for this year, I think this is probably the best route to go.
We have one more coming up like this too, right? In
No.
4th grade or
Oh.
5th grade?
Fourth
grade?
larger.
4th grade, but it isn't,
Not as big, right?
yeah, it doesn't fall within the qualifications anyway, so we just eat that one.
That's when we talk 3 and 4 sections, we're not really, 3 teachers versus some what grade or 4 teachers. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
fourth-
a little mixed up.
4th grade and 6th grade are our last 2 4 sections.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. 11.3, approve the transportation contracts.
I invited Randy Knowles, our business manager, to come talk to you a little bit about transportation contracts. I see we also have our 2 providers in the audience if there's any questions, but I guess I would start again with the motion in a second, and I'll let Randy talk a little bit about them.
Okay. A motion to approve the contracts? as
Make a
presented.
motion to approve them as presented.
Motion by Peterson. And I'll second by Andrews. All right, now we can open for discussion.
All right, I'll start. Just so for those of you who aren't aware, we don't run all of our own regular bus routes. We have, is it 4 of them that are contracted out? 3 or 4?
Yes.
Through 2 providers. It's been that way for as long as I can see, quite a while. Mainly because we don't have enough bus drivers for one, nor do we have enough buses. So, this particular contract is a 3-year renewable each year, and they are proposing $3.35 a mile, which I'll turn it over to Randy. Just a little bit about what we can expect for costs.
You were not prepared, were you?
I just hit him with this 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, I gathered that by the look.
Seconds ago.
He's the one that, I mean, he's the one that prepared him. So.
I put the numbers together and stuff.
All right, so 335, I'll take it back. That's the same, I'm sorry, that's the same amount of,
Nothing like
that's the
pressure.
same per mile that we were paying this past year. Gas prices have kind of leveled out, so there are a lot of fluctuations there. And these 2 providers can continue to provide the 4 rural routes. This is, we can expire this at any point during the contract. We just need to give them 30 days notice, although I don't see us really doing that, but there you go.
Okay.
So are these buses gonna be like, obviously they're gonna be DOT inspected and
Yeah,
they're
they have to be.
safe and yes. And do they report to you or?
They report to,
Okay, all right.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11.4, set closed session to discuss negotiation strategies.
I'll move.
Motion by Peterson,
Second.
second by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11.5 is the approved extracurricular transportation agreement with Schubert.
A couple of years ago, this is a service, the extracurricular transportation, of course, that's the high school athletics, 7 through 12 athletics. We used to contract that out. That contractor came to us prior to the school year and says that they didn't want to do it anymore. We did try to do this on our own for 3 or 4 months and just don't have the personnel or the buses to pull that off. So Schubert came in around December to help us out that year. Finished out the year. We did sign again last year. We've been doing 1-year contracts with them in the event we figure out something else. So I would recommend that we again do this for a year as we're working through some of those issues with another school district and see how it goes.
I'll make a motion to approve Shabbat transportation contract.
Second.
Okay, motion by Sather, second by Addy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And now we are to 11.6, which was consent agenda item A. If Tom wanted it moved, so if you want to start.
Okay. Still my addition to the agenda now?
Yep.
Okay. I'll go through it again then. Okay.
Or would it be easier for you
The
to
minutes
provide
refer to the
copy?
statement.
It'd be easier for a secretary if you just provided a typed copy. You can feel free to read it again, but you'll,
Can you read it and then just pass it over?
Oh, I can pass it over, no problem.
if you want to read
Go ahead,
it,
read it,
I'm not
Tom.
telling you to not read it, but
Tom,
You
read
can
it
read
first.
it.
Read it first.
Read
can
it
read
first,
it.
though. Okay. The minutes refer to the statement I read regarding my reasons to remove the treasury report, item C, from the consent agenda. I move to amend the minutes to include the reasons. I read from my statement, which includes in short, is it not the board's responsibility to keep the community informed of the district's income and expenses? By including the treasurer's report in the consent agenda, the public does not have a chance to be informed of detail of the district's finances. Got it, Kath?
Well, when you got it. I didn't.
It's just an addition, it was a whole big thing I read, but they just cut it down to this one portion, that's all.
okay. I figured it'd be easier to have a typed
Okay.
copy.
Thank you.
I know how that is.
And then I have a statement under personnel of that same consent agenda, or that same agenda, 11, or 9.0A. It said that here that to approve the 2017-18 teaching assignments as presented, Director Addy stated that he would like the Dean of Students position to be discontinued. I did not say discontinued. I wanted it removed from that position removed from the extracurricular, or the assignments, or moving from the teaching assignments. I did not say that I wanted the Dean of Students, that position discontinued.
So you just wanted it removed?
For more discussion.
Okay.
From the agenda. So noted.
Okay, thank you.
Now with the updates,
Yes, sir.
will the minutes be proper? Okay, we'll just have to get a motion to accept them then.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from July 24th with the two updates to the minutes.
I will second.
Okay, motion by Sather, second by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay. Motion passes. And now we're to 12.0, administrative report.
All right, well, I was going to give you a little update on buildings and grounds, but you got that already, so I'll skip over that. Well, I could for the good of the group, I guess. We were in a, I'll go back. The couple of things that we've been working on this summer, the fence around the Franklin Playground, you'll notice up on the north side, we paid for that through Safe Schools money. I think that's going to be a great addition up there, although the groundskeepers don't care for it too much when they're cutting grass. The end zones have been filled up at the football field. They are working on patching holes in the stadium right now. New wood chips in both playgrounds here in Gilbert. They're sorely needed at both sites. We found some that are OSHA approved. The cities actually, believe it or not, there are grades to wood chips. All of our carpeting and flooring that we took on this summer is all complete. The hot water heater in the high school is also complete. And almost done with the roofing project. One little snafu that happened with that when they were working on it one day, the skies opened up and we got some water on the stage in the auditorium. So their insurance company is working on that right now, but I'm sure it'll get cleared up. Just a little note for the board on fall end services that are coming up on August 23rd. You'll see a lot of cars parked around the school here as the region-wide special ed co-op is coming here for their annual special ed workshop prior to school. That's on the 23rd of August. On the 29th, teachers come back. Well, actually, all staff comes back. We do the mandatory trainings, the bullying training, the bloodborne pathogens, all that fun stuff. And then we're also looking at introducing most of our staff to the tech upgrades that we have done over the summer. Then the following day, region-wide PDS at the Virginia School. We participated in that for the last 4 years. It's a great opportunity for all of our staff because there's a wide variety of topics. August 31st, they work in their rooms, and that night they have open house. The times are 3:30 to 5:30, Franklin open house. 3 to 6, Gilbert campus is open, and 2:30 to 5:30, the senior high is open. One of the things that we have been looking at for the past year is our crisis manual. Lots changes often regarding procedures, and I did send our 2 principals and Mike Hogue to what's called ALICE training to learn a little bit what ALICE means. This summer, along with representatives from the Gilbert PD and as well as the Evelyn PD, went down there to study what we should be doing in the event that we have an emergency. And I'm going to turn it over to these two. They're going to talk a little bit about that training and what that means for our crisis plan and how things are going to change.
Well, this training that we went to in Hermantown Middle School, it really dealt with the active shooter. And so when lockdown started many years ago, it was because of the drive-by shootings in California. So they would have a lockdown if they heard gunshots outside. But now, in recent years, the active shooter is not just a drive-by shooter anymore. They're coming and entering the building. So we really have to revamp what we're doing in our crisis management plan with lockdowns. To just lock your door, go and hide in a corner, and not be visible is not going to cut it anymore. So there are some changes that we have to do. This is the new standard of care, as it says up there, that most schools are utilizing. And at this training, there were more than just schools there. There were people from churches, people from banks, from the hospitals, from courthouses. So this just wasn't for the teaching schools. It was for all community areas. So we basically...
I'll just add something there. The active shooter, would come into a lot of different things, like Angie said, into the malls, into the movie theaters, into libraries, college campuses, as well as public schools. And the ALICE training is actually accepted by a lot of different institutions around the United States. I'll just read a quick list. The U.S. Department of Education endorses ALICE trainings. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Department of Justice, the FBI, and FEMA. So it's widely accepted and becoming more widely accepted across the country.
And they have found through their research and taking data of all the active shooting incidences all over the world that, using these ALIS procedures, you're going to increase your odds of survival no matter what building you're in. They did say that we should give our staff the options and not a single mandate. Like we don't, if you can evacuate the building, get out. Don't, especially if there's gunshots in the gym and we know they're in the gym, we should be evacuating. We shouldn't just be locking our doors and hiding in a corner. So we have to give our staff freedom to make choices. They love, the active shooter loves the passive victim. So they love if you're just hiding in a corner. That's the easiest target if you're just a sitting duck. We also talked about and discussed how the building occupants, everybody here in our building, they're going to be the first responders because the intruder duration is about, on average, 12 minutes that there's an active shooter in a building, and it takes, on average, the response time for ambulance, police, 18 minutes. So the intruder has already done all the damage before we even get any help here. So we have to be here, and we have to protect ourselves and protect our kids.
And these response times were averaged all of the active shooter events across the whole country. I mean, if you're sitting right next to the police station, it might be a little quicker response time or whatever, but essentially, we are, if we're in a school and there's an active shooter comes in, we are the first line of defense to save lives.
So the A for alert, if we want to go on to the next page, I don't know if you copied it or not. So Alice, the A in Alice means alert. So, and that's could be a gunshot, it could be a PA announcement. They really stress not using code words, but whatever alert that we have that there's danger in the building, that's the first thing is we have to alert.
And we, over my experience in my career, I've had a few times where we've used code words, and it totally makes sense not to use those anymore, just in previous districts. So.
The L means lockdown, so if the evacuation is not a safe option, like I told you before, if there was shooting in the gym and we're over here on this campus, we should evacuate to a safe area. And you want to barricade entry points into your room if you can't evacuate. So if the shots were right outside this door, we don't have time to evacuate, of course. So we would want to barricade the door with desks and people. We actually went through this where there was a shooter outside in the hallway and we were in different rooms. And I certainly did not want to get shot by a soft pellet air gun. And I knew it was just a little pellet and it wouldn't hurt me, but I still was terrified. And I mean, we were pushing desks and we just had it where the person couldn't even see in. And we had the gentlemen take their belts off and loop the belt around it and then wrap it around a desk so there's no way he could pull that door open. And the shooter said when he noticed that there was so much and he pulled on that door and there was no give, he just went to the next one. So you want to barricade as much as possible in a lockdown if you can't evacuate.
Yeah, it was very interesting to be a part of that because you see different people's reactions. At a certain time, we did have one event where we were all in the commons area in the school, in the cafeteria, and we're all just sitting down to lunch, and we set up a scenario where an active shooter would come in to the cafeteria, and then we had a diversion on the other side where some kid was yelling bomb or something, and it was very interesting to see different people's reactions. Some people took a very non-passive approach and helped, subdue the shooter very quickly. In fact, I think in that one, maybe one person got a little pellet in the leg, and that was it. So it was pretty good.
And other people just hid behind their hands. You can't see me, and I can't see you. Everybody has a different reaction, and that's why they say that you have to leave that open for personal choice of how they want to. Not everybody's going to go and charge that shooter. And so if we say they have to, even if we train and train and train, if that's not what their demeanor or their personality is like, they're never going to. So you have to allow that personal choice. The I in Alice is for,
I can take that. The purpose is to inform and is to continue to communicate information as real time as possible if it's safe to do so. Information should always be clear, direct, and in plain language, not using codes again, and communicate through any means possible. And basically, all that means is if Officer Chad is outside the window and we have a shooter in this building and I can give him pertinent information, I can yell out the window if I need to, or I can pick up the phone and dial 911, or I can call the office and get communication that way. But any way possible to inform people of what's happening is what we will focus on.
the C in Alice is for counter, and it's, a lot of people think that it's, well, then you're fighting back, but it's not really fighting, they stress that it's a way to take back control. And they said that they don't believe in actively confronting a violent intruder. But if they are coming at you, I mean, if you can, pick up your cell phone and you throw it, it will distract them, make them, the target. The gun will go a different direction as you throw it at them. It'll give time to be able to attack if there's anybody that feels like that. But any counter actions, noises, that's it. Use your iPad, throw your iPad at them, your cell phone, just whatever you can to counter them, and that will throw them off.
And one of the pieces of data they gave us is that in the active shooter situation, the shooter accurately gets victims when the people are passive. If you're running away, I think the police graphic or data said that police officers 8% of the time get their victim and kill them, and that's not very often, typically because the person is running and moving. So we want to teach people to be active and move and run.
And in our training situation, we were in the hallway, and we all had to run out of the classroom and run. And there were a ton of people in the hallway running past the shooter. And our own Mike Hogue got hit twice. But otherwise, nobody else got hit. So, and there was probably 50 people in that hallway running around. And they were not life-threatening shots either. It was one in the shoulder and one in the buttocks. So he would have survived if it was real. So, and our last one for E is evacuate.
It's just run from danger when it's safe to do so, using non-traditional exits if necessary, and go to evacuation points. So we'll have to train our staff and talk about, just review where we go for an evacuation point. If I'm, on the at what particular point in the building where I know there's something going on way down by the gym and the junior high, that would allow our staff to just say, come on kids, let's get out of here and evacuate, go to the safe point. So.
It was very eye-opening. I wasn't looking forward to the training because I didn't want to get hit by a soft pellet gun, but I was really glad I did go because it did open my eyes that we can't continue to do this lockdown the way we've been doing it. We're going to have to train our staff now to talk to their kids, like if there is an active shooter, how can we barricade that door? How can we protect ourselves? They even talk about breaking a window. You want to break the corner of a window. So if everybody just has a hammer in there, or classroom, or something that they could hit the corner of the window will break. A desk, yeah. Anything that you can have to evacuate. But the teachers will have to talk to the students in their classroom and say, what would we do? What could we do to barricade? How could we use a belt? What do we have that we could secure it? What would we pile up against? And have the kids do different tasks. So somebody should be at the windows, breaking the window out. Somebody else, then you three need to help me move the desks, and we need to barricade the door. But trying to talk about it, have a plan of action for if there is a shooter right outside your door and they're trying to get in. Instead of just locking the door and hiding and being quiet.
And the last thing I guess they emphasize is, chances of this happening in a school, are still very slim, but they do happen. They do occur around the country, and so we can't just turn a blind eye to say it's not going to happen here. It's a possibility, so we just need to be prepared.
Yeah, certainly we hope that we never have to put this into good use, but it is wise to be prepared. the event, right?
Correct.
And no, every time we have a drill, there won't be kids breaking windows. All right, just a couple things. So our next collaborative meeting is on the 23rd of August at 6 o'clock over at the co-op. And then we meet again on the 28th, which is the Monday before the teachers come back. And before you know it, the kids will be here. That is all I have tonight, Mr. Chair.
All right, take a short break and go into closed session.